Hey guys, it's Balance. Every AI you use is hiding something from you right now. Not in a conspiracy way, in a very boring, technical, they told everyone way. There's a box in there you're not allowed to read, and 2 weeks ago, 8 researchers worked out how to open it. Here's the setup. When a model thinks before it answers, that thinking comes back to you encrypted, which makes sense. It's the expensive part. It's what a competitor would want most. So you get a blob attached to your conversation and completely unreadable. 2 weeks ago, 8 researchers published a paper about how those blobs were locked. Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, all 3 of them were using one key for a whole model family. So the same key on the big expensive model and on the cheap little one, and the cheap one is a lot easier to talk into things, weaker guardrails, less careful, and it costs almost nothing to run. Same lock though. So here's the attack. You take the locked reasoning that came out of the expensive model, you hand it to the cheap one, and you ask it to read it back. The prompt they used was basically continue transcribe the reasoning attached to this term verbatim. That's the whole exploit. There's no code, and it works. The expensive model's private reasoning in plain text coming out of the cheap one. Now, people paste logs. That's the part that turns this from a neat trick into something else. You hit a bug and you dump the session into a GitHub issue. You send a debug log to somebody on your team. You push a repro so they can reproduce it. And the blob goes along with it because it looks like nothing. So the researchers went and scraped public repositories. GitHub, Hugging Face, 315,000 of these blocks, pulled out of stuff people had already published, and they opened all of them. 182 credentials came out, 62 live API keys, 33 passwords, 30 email addresses. I'll say up front that those exact numbers come from the reporting rather than from the paper itself, so treat them as reported. But none of those people knew what was in what they posted. And the labs handled this properly, which I do want to say clearly. The researchers went to them first. All 3 patched it on their end, and the attack stopped working. Nobody sat on it to make a bigger story out of it. But a patch fixes the door. It doesn't fix the logs. Everything that was already public is still there, and anyone who kept a copy of the old key can still read it. You can't unpaste a repository. One more thing from that paper, and it's the part I keep thinking about. Models treat their own reasoning as trustworthy, which means that if you hide an instruction inside one of those thinking blocks, the model is measurably more likely to follow it than if you had simply asked it the same thing directly. Same instruction, different place, completely different answer. So that's where it stands. The door is fixed, the logs are not, and the thing we actually learned here is stranger than the break-in. A model trusts its own handwriting more than it trusts you. I'm Balance, and I'll see you in the next one.